Everyone, once again welcome in our class. So we have already started the fundamental unit of our life, that is a cell chapter, and we have covered so many things in our previous lecture, like what is mean by cell, who discovered the cell, and what is mean by osmosis. So now we will start with our next slide, that is the importance of the diffusion. In our previous lecture we have already seen what is mean by diffusion. So what will happen, or what are the advantages of the diffusion, is it is help in the spreading of the different substances through the cytoplasm of the cell, means whatever the substances in our cell needed, so whatever inside coming into the cell through, and it should be uh, spread throughout in our cytoplasm, that will help also due to the diffusion from higher concentration to lower. And osmosis is a type of the diffusion we have already seen. So where only solvent is allowed to diffuse, here solute will not allow, only the solvent will allow to diffuse in the osmosis. And the diffusion help in the exchange of the respiratory gases between the cells and their environment, because we have already seen the respiratory gases, they want to come in our body, like oxygen, we need oxygen. After that we need to release the carbon dioxide from our body, so that all the exchange of the gases will be happen with the help of the diffusion process. And the transpiration is diffusion process. We have already seen the in the plant we have seen photosynthesis. So in the photosynthesis, after whatever the remaining amount of the water is present in our plant, that will remove outside, that is called the transpiration. That is also happen because of the diffusion process. Now the next is flowers, that spread the aroma like fragrance through the diffusion to attract the insects and other animal for the pollination. We already seen flowers, they are having different kind of the fragrance, and that is they want to they are spreading. That is also because they are also following the diffusion process, and they need to attract the insects, because for the pollination they are using that insects, that is why they are using that diffusion process in that example also. And in the next slide we will see now, okay, diffusion differ from osmosis. What are the differences between the osmosis and diffusion processes? So number one, we will see that diffusion. So diffusion, it can takes place in the solid, liquid and gas. Due to the diffusion process, we can be transport all the material, like it can be solid, it can be liquid, or it can be gas. But in the case of the osmosis, it takes place only in the liquid medium. In the osmosis, just liquid medium can be in the liquid medium only the osmosis can be takes place, and it does not, or in the diffusion it does not involve any semi permeable membrane. Diffusion process does not require any semi permeable membrane, but in the osmosis process it requires the semi permeable membrane, like in our in the case of our cell, because our cell membrane is also semi permeable, that will also do the osmosis. And in diffusion, it equalize the concentration of substances, whatever the substances will be transporting, that will be equalized in the diffusion. But in case of osmosis, it does not equalize the concentration of the solvent on the two sides of the membrane. Whatever the substances will be moving, that will not, that is not a condition in osmosis to equalize that the substance. And in the diffusion, the different substances diffuse independent of one another. Whatever the substances are transporting in the diffusion process, they are independent, they are not dependent each other. But in case of osmosis, only solvent undergoes the diffusion, the solvent only that can be go under the diffusion, that can be move. Or diffusion, in the diffusion process, diffusion is not much influenced by the presence of other substance. If they are having the other substances mixed together, so it will not having any effect in the diffusion. But in osmosis, it influenced by the concentration and type of the solute particle, whatever the types of the solute particle in that present into that liquid, or what is the concentration of that particle, that will affect in the osmosis process. So these are the some differences between diffusion and osmosis. Now we will see now what is osmosis. Again, in there are some type of the osmosis, like endoosmosis and exoosmosis. Endoosmosis means osmotic entry of the water into the cell or system, means in this system the water will be enter into the cell, that is called the endoosmosis. And exoosmosis, the osmotic withdrawal of the water from the cell or system, means in exo means removing of the water from the cell, that is why it is given the name is exosmosis. When we place the cell in higher concentration, the water comes out of the cell by the process called exosmosis. You can see this figure also. With the help of this figure you can understand better. You can see in the endosmosis, when we are putting the cell which is having the lower concentration outside of the cell, so the water will come inside the cell and cell will swell up. So in this figure you can see in this type the cell will be looking swell up. So that is why it is called the endosmosis, because the water is coming inside in the cell. So that is called the endosmosis. From the all the direction the water is coming inside, so it is called the endosmosis. But when you see in the other diagram, that is called the exosmosis. In the exosmosis we can see osmotic withdrawal of the water from the cell. So when we place the cell in a higher concentration, the water comes out and the cell will process called the exosmosis, and when we place the cell into the lower concentration of the water, enters into the cell. So now in this exosmosis the concentration is higher, that is why the water is coming out from the cell and cell will become shrink. So that is exo means removal of the water. So this is the two basic type of the osmosis. One is endosmosis, the water will be go inside of the cell and cell will swell up, and the other one is exosmosis, when the water is released from the cell and cell will be shrink. So these are basically two type of our osmosis system. Now again one thing I want to just share with you, there are basically three type for the liquid also, means solution, the hypotonic and isotonic and hypertonic. So what is mean by hypotonic? In the hypotonic, when we are putting the cell into the solution and the solution having the more concentration of the water outside the cell, so in that case cell will absorb the water and cell will swell up. So that condition or the solution is called the hypotonic solution. And in the condition where the concentration of the water inside the cell is more as compared to the concentration of water outside the cell, so in that case cell will lose the water, and that is called the hypertonic solution. That is because of the concentration of the substances present in our solution. And isotonic means in which the concentration of the water is equal inside the cell and outside the cell. So in that case cell will means the movement of the water will be there from outside of the cell to inside, from inside of the cell to outside, but the final rate you can calculate, the no exchange of the water will be happen, and it is called the isotonic solution. So these are the especially three type of the solutions you have to keep in your mind. Okay, this is related to the osmosis. Now we will go to the next slide, that is what is role of the cell wall. Right, basically the cell wall is present only in the plant cell. Animal cell does not have the cell wall. If you can see the picture, these all pictures are showing you the cell wall. So we can understand this is the plant cell and having cover, each and every cell is covered with the cell wall. So now what is advantage and why plant cell having the cell wall? Because it provides the shape to the cell. Like in our body we having the cytoplasm, so it is like a boundary, and it is because in a human body we can also see different kind of the cells are there. So because of the cell membrane, or in case of the plant cell wall will decide the shape of the cell. Second point, it provides the mechanical strength to the plant. Mechanical strength means whatever the hardness or hurdles are coming into the plant, because plant is present into the outer atmosphere, so it is having to face the harsh conditions. So it is also providing the mechanical strength to the plant cell, and that is why we do not have that, because we are the human beings, we can be moved from one place to another place. And the third point is protects against the pathogens and mechanical injury. Whatever the pathogens are attacking on the plants, so plant cell, it is having the cell wall, so that can be providing the more protection from the pathogen as well as mechanical injury. It will also protect from the injury, and it is protecting the cell organelles from outermost environment of the cell. And next point is growth of the cell wall determines the growth of the cell, means whatever the amount of the growth present or growth happening into the cell wall, that will be the growth of the cell only, because it is decide the growth of the cell also. Cell wall prevents bursting of the cell on endosmosis. We have recently seen the endosmosis means the water is coming inside the cell, So in that condition it is not allowing to burst the cell. If you are having the more water inside the cell, so it is giving extra protection and it is not allowing the cell to burst, and it will helpful in the cell of the plant cell. The next is ability to withstand a lot of variation in the nature, means whatever the variations are coming in the nature, cold seasons are there, sometimes very harsh condition, very hyper temperatures are there. I mean, some hot and desert areas they are having the more temperature, in some cold areas they are having the more less temperature. So whatever the harsh condition are there or variations are coming in the nature, so it is providing the more strength to withstand in the harsh condition. That is an advantages of the cell wall, that is present into the, especially into the plant cell. Okay. So now we will move to the next slide. It is showing that does cell wall and plasma membrane are the similar in function. Some student always confuse what is mean by the cell wall and what is mean the plasma membrane. So the basic thing, the cell wall is present only and only into the plant cell. Animal cell we do not have the cell wall. So now what are the differences between cell wall and plasma membrane, we will see in this slide. Number 1, in cell wall it is occurs in a plant cell. Cell wall only is present into the plant cell, and in animal cell plasma membrane is there, and we do not have the cell wall. Occurs in the plant and animal both, because plasma membrane is a second layer, and if you consider the plant cell also, after the cell wall there is a plasma membrane also, but in the animal cell directly we are having the plasma membrane. The next point is cell wall lies on outside of the cell. This is the external most layer of the plant cell, that is lies outside, and same in the plasma membrane also lies on the outside of the animal cell and inside in the plant cell. If we talk about the animal, so this is the plasma membrane is the outermost layer for us, but if we are talking about, if we talk about the cell wall or the plant cell, so it is plasma membrane, or this is lies the second layer of the plant cell. After the cell wall it is having the plasma membrane. So in the cell wall it is a rigid and thick, that is an advantage of the cell wall, because it is protecting the cell from harsh condition or from shocks. So that is why it is a rigid. And plasma membrane, it is a flexible and thin, it is very flexible to movement of the cell, or it is very thin because it is need to allow some movement of some particles from inside to outside, that is why it is a thin. And cell wall is permeable. What is mean by permeable? Because cell wall is allowing all the substances to move inside the cell. It is only because of the protection for the harsh condition, that is why it is permeable, and it can allowing all the substances to move and come inside the cell. But plasma membrane is selectively permeable, because in our body or in our cell plasma membrane is the outermost layer, so that is why it is selectively permeable. It is not allowing all the substances to come and go outside and inside from the cell, that is why plasma membrane is selectively permeable, as well as cell wall or cell membrane, cell wall is a permeable. And the next point, in the cell wall, forms of the cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin, and plasma membrane is made up of lipids and proteins with a small number of carbohydrates. And the next point, the provide protection and strength to the cell. Cell wall is there to provide the extra protection and strength to the cell, and plasma membrane hold the cellular content and control the passage material, because this is the external layer for us, plasma membrane in the animal. So that is why it is holding all the cellular material, whatever the mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, everything it is hold with the help of the plasma membrane. So these are some differences between the cell wall and plasma membrane, and you can also write down in your notes. These are the very important points because it is differentiating between the cell wall and plasma membrane. The next point is, or in the next slide we will see nucleus. Now we will talk about the nucleus. It is an organelle of the cell. We have before just study about the cell membrane, cytoplasm, and this is the next one is nucleus. These are the very basic and important things we have to understand in the while we are studying about the cell. So the nucleus, we are also saying this is the cell brain. Like in the human body we are having the brain, which is very sensitive, which is deciding the orders given to the body, and so many things we are deciding from the brain. So that is also same, in the cell the nucleus is there, which is acting like a brain in the cell. So, that is why it is called the cell brain. So, it is a dense protoplasmic body that contains the hereditary information and controlling cell activities as well as for the transfer to the next generation. Whatever the cell activities means, when cell want to multiply, cell want to divide, cell which kind of the fatty acids and lipids they want to produce in the cell, and when it is also having one of the important thing that is called the genetic material, and that is a chromosome. Chromosome is made up of by the DNA, and DNA is made by the genes. So, and we are already seen in our previous classes that genes are responsible to carry the hereditary characteristics from our parents to offspring. So, that is why it is more important, because it is having the genetic material. So, that is why it is very important organelle. The next point, it lies in the median or the control position, central position. Cell nucleus, inside the cell the nucleus is present in the center in our body, and it mature plant cell, it lies towards the periphery. When the cell will become mature, it is slightly move towards the periphery. In the prokaryote, nuclear membrane is absent. That is a basic difference between eukaryotic cell and prokaryotic cell. We are human beings, we are animals, we are having the eukaryotic cell, that is why we are having the nucleus, but in the prokaryotic cell, that is having of some bacteria, that is a simple cell and that does not have the nucleus. That just has the genetic material covered by the nucleoids. So, it is called the nucleoid, which is present in the prokaryote. We are having the nucleus because we are the eukaryotic organisms, but when we are talking about the prokaryotic organisms, they does not having the nucleus. Instead of the nucleus, they have the nucleoid. And cells like the RBC, they also does not have the nucleus. In our body, if you see the different kind of the cells, so the RBC, red blood cells, they do not have the nucleus. Okay. The next point, cells without nucleus cannot survive for a longer time. This is basic difference. Okay, the cells like RBC, they do not have the nucleus. So, the any kind of the cell, they do not have the nucleus, they will not live for a longer time, and their life cycle will be shorter. One nucleus, if the cell having only one nucleus, it is called the uninucleate, and if some cell having more than one nucleus, it is called the multinucleate. This is also the important point you have to keep in your mind. Okay. So, now we will move to the next slide, that is what is nucleus made up of. Okay, we are telling a nucleus is very important, nucleus will decide so many things. So, what are the things which is made to the nucleus? So, nucleus having different things like nuclear envelope, that is a covering to the nucleus, like in our cell we are having the cell membrane or nuclear membrane, cell membrane. So, same like for the nucleus also, there is a membrane or there is a boundary, that is called the nuclear membrane, but that is a double membrane covering which separates the nucleus from the cytoplasm. Okay, when we are looking the cell, inside the cell there is all the cytoplasm is present, and this is the nuclear membrane which is separating the cell from the cytoplasm. If you see in this diagram also, it is also showing the nuclear membrane covers the nucleus. Okay. See, this is you can understand, this is the nuclear membrane which is covering to the nucleus from the this is all are the cytoplasm. So, this is the separation, or it is make the boundary between the cytoplasm and nucleus. And the next one is, it is also contain the many nuclear pores. What is mean by pores? The small holes in that which is allowing allowing the movement of the molecules or substances from cytoplasm to inside of the nucleus, or from inside of the nucleus to cytoplasm. So, nuclear pores allow the exchange of the material between the nucleus and the cytoplasm. Whatever thing or information should be transported from the nucleus to outside of the nucleus in the cytoplasm. So, that is why they are having the nuclear pores. And nucleoplasm, what is nucleoplasm? It is colorless dense sap found inside the nucleus. Like inside the cell we are having the cytoplasm. So, inside the nucleus they are having the nucleoplasm, okay, in which the chromatin and the nucleus are suspended. Chromatin, the material which is after when the cell want to multiply, they will convert into the chromosome, that is called the chromatin. That chromatin and nucleolus are suspended into the nucleoplasm, and the next is nucleolus, a round structure found inside the nucleus. This is the small round structure which are present inside the nucleus, and it is rich in RNA, that is the ribonucleic acid. So, that is rich in the RNA and protein, and it is the site of ribosome formation, where the ribosomes are formed, or formation of the ribosome will be happen, that is also inside the nucleus. So, these are the basic points we have to understand in the nucleus. What are the things which can be made the nucleus? Okay. So, in the next slide we will move to the next slide, that is called the chromosome. Already we have seen that is the chromosome is, it's a material which is responsible to carry the genetic information from parents to offspring. So, that is called the chromosome. So, what is the chromosome? That is a thread like structure, and what are the information from our parents to offspring, like our skin color, our eye color, our hair curly or straight, our height. Some people look like their mother, some people having more characteristic from the father. So, whatever the characteristics we are having from our parents, that is bring by the chromosome only, and that is called the genetic material. Okay, and it is present inside the nucleus. So, it is a thread like structure which are formed by the condensation of the chromatin during the cell division. When the cell is dividing, it is made by the chromatin material and are called the chromosome, and they referred as a hereditary characteristics vehicle. They are referred to the hereditary vehicle, means they are bringing the information, hereditary information from parents to offspring. That is very important role of the chromosome. Chromosomes are made up of the DNA and protein. They are made by the DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, and protein, and a chromosome consists of the two similar thread called the chromatids. When you see, if you see this structure of the this is the structure of the chromosome. So, this is having the two strands or two thread like structure called the chromatids. Okay. Now, the chromosomes are attached at the center, that is a centromere. If you see this structure, it is mentioned here centromere. Okay, this is 1 and 2 chromosome, they are attached over here. This is the joint point for the 2 chromosome, and that is called the centromere. With the help of the centromere, both the strands will be joined together, that is called the centromere, and because of that only they are having the different types of the chromosome. It is dividing from the centromere only, and on either side of the centromere, chromatids are called the arms. This is one arm, and this is the second arm. You can be divide from here. This is the centromere. So, this is one arm and this is the second arm. This is two sides, you can say. This is the arms of the chromosome. So, this is all about the chromosome. It is very important for the genetic information and hereditary information from parents to offspring. So, this is related, this slide is related to the what is chromosome. Okay, now we will move towards the next slide, that is chromosome number, because it is not having any random numbers in any organisms. It is specialized, or chromosome number is fixed for the each species. Like each and every species, we are the human beings, some other animals is also there, dogs, monkeys. So, each and every organism they having the fixed number of the chromosome, and that is we have to study in the detail. So, the chromosome, it is the fixed in the number, and in most organisms they occur in the homologous in the pair. Most of the organism they are having the chromosome always in the pair. Okay, chromosome is not there looking in the single number, they always chromosomes are always in the pair form. So, in each pair on the chromosome belongs to the father, parents, while other belongs to the mother, because we are telling chromosomes always in the pair like this. So, one pair is, or one from in the pair, one is coming from the mother and one is coming from the father. That is why we are having the characteristics from the both the parents, and the presence of two sets of the chromosome is called the diploid. That is multiplied by 2 means we are having 46 number of chromosome. Okay, that is called the diploid. And when we are talking about the pair, so presence of a single set of the chromosome, it is called the haploid, that is called N. So, that is 23 pairs. In the human beings, if you see, we are having the numbers like 23 pairs of the chromosome and 46 chromosome. If we separate in a single, that is called the 46 numbers, and in the pair they are having 23 pairs. Out of the 23 pair, 22 pairs it is called autosomes, and 1 pair it is called allosomes, and that is also called the sex chromosome, because that 1 pair is responsible or deciding the sex of the baby in the reproduction, what the type of when it is starting the newborn baby. So that is always we have seen, that is XX and XY. If we are having the XX, the baby is female, and sometimes if the chromosome we are having the XY, that is having the boy. Okay, so that is the one pair, and other 22 pairs are the similar, which are responsible for the other height of the person, the hairs of the person, eye color, skin color. So that will come under the 22 pairs. So that is why we are having the 23 pairs of the chromosome. That is you have to understand, and this is the diagram for this is the pair, and this is a single chromosome. So that is the chromosome number, how much numbers we have, that is showing in this slide. Okay. So now in the next slide, what we will understand, the prokaryote and eukaryotes. This is a very important slide, because when we having the next chapter, I think that is a classification of the organisms. So how we can classify the organism on the basis of the cell type. So basically the cell type, we are having the two basic cell type, prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Okay, we are the human beings, we are having the eukaryotic cell, and some other bacteria they are having the prokaryotic cell. So we will understand with the help of this slide what is mean by prokaryote and what is eukaryote. So first of all, in a prokaryote do not have the nucleus that is houses its genetic material. If you see this diagram, this is for the prokaryotic cell and the other one is for the eukaryotic cell. So prokaryotic cell doesn't having the proper nucleus, they don't have the proper nucleus like other eukaryotic cell have the nucleus, proper nucleus. So there only the genetic material is there which covered, and that is called the nucleoids. So prokaryotic cell consists of the large DNA molecules compact in the cytoplasm called the nucleoids. So the nucleoids is this is the area which is covered to the DNA or genetic material, because they don't have the nucleus. So that is region is called the nucleoid, that is the nucleoid region which is covering the genetic material. The nucleoid region is protected or enclosed or encased by the cells or cell wall. They are having the cell wall to protect that genetic material, and they are having or the cell membrane, the outer layering of the cell, that is similar of the human skin. Okay, this is the outer layering which is protecting the cell, that is look like similar our human skin. And finally for the movement of the prokaryote, they are having the flagella. This is the outermost hair like projection you can see, that is called the flagella, and this flagella is responsible or they are helping to the movement of, this is in the red color it is shown. So that is helping into the movement of the that prokaryotic cell, that is called the flagella. And flagellum are these are the ruder like device that is helping into the movement or luxury movement, or it is making the prokaryotic cell movable. So that is basic things about the prokaryotic cell. And some bacteria they are having the prokaryotic cell, some other organisms that are smaller or they are simple organisms, they are having the prokaryotic cell. But all the complex type of the organism like the human beings, we are having the eukaryotic type of the cell. So we will stop here. Whatever the things or whatever the slides we have seen, just go through it one more time, and what are the importance points you like, you can write down in your notebooks. And for your homework, you just make the diagram of the chromosome, you can write the number of the chromosome, and what are the pairs of the chromosome we having, what is autosome, what is allosomes. These are some points you can be write in your notes. Okay, so we will meet in the next session of our class, and we will continue remaining points like eukaryotic cell, what is eukaryotic cell and what are the difference between prokaryote and eukaryotes. Okay, so take care, bye.